If your toes feel numb or tingly, stop letting your doctor tell you it is just poor circulation. That sensation isn't blood flow. It is the sound of your nerves being slowly stripped of protection. In this video, I'm going to show you why your normal blood test is a lie, and why the vitamin you bought to fix it might actually contain cyanide.
It starts as a whisper. You are standing in the shower and you realize you can't quite feel the cool texture of the tile beneath your feet. It feels like walking on wet sponges, or like you are wearing a thick pair of wool socks even when you are completely barefoot. Over time, that numbness turns into a static hum, a vibration like a cell phone buzzing deep inside your ankle bone, or the sensation of tiny ants crawling just under your skin. You are right to be worried. You know that if you can't feel the floor, you can't trust your footing. You find yourself gripping the stair railing until your knuckles turn white, haunted by the fear that a single misstep could lead to the hip fracture that ends your independence. So you seek help. You visit your doctor, expecting answers. They prick your finger, rule out diabetes, and then they shrug. They glance at your gray hair and say, "It's just poor circulation. It's part of aging." They treat you like a car with high mileage, assuming things are supposed to rattle. You are dismissed with a wait-and-see approach. But I need you to hear this clearly. You are not crazy, and you are not broken. Numb toes are not a normal consequence of another birthday. That tingling is a frantic biological alarm bell. Your body is trying to tell you that a vital connection is being severed. But here is the dangerous truth standard medicine misses. This is rarely a plumbing problem. Your blood flow might be perfect. The issue isn't the pipes, it is the electrical wiring. And right now, an invisible enemy is stripping those wires naked, leaving your nerves exposed and starving. Let's act like engineers for a moment and look under the hood of your legs. Your doctor likely checked your pulses, found a strong heartbeat in your ankle, and told you your blood flow is fine. And they're probably right. But a house can have perfect plumbing and still go dark if the wiring is cut. The numbness plaguing your toes is not a flow problem, it is a connection problem. To understand this, I want you to visualize the charging cable for your smartphone. Inside that cord are delicate copper wires that carry the electricity. But what makes that cable safe and functional is the thick rubber insulation wrapped around it. In your body, your nerves are those copper wires, and they are wrapped in a protective biological insulation called the myelin sheath. When this myelin is thick and healthy, it acts like a superhighway, allowing brain signals to zip down to your toes at 200 miles per hour. It ensures the message arrives strong and clear. The floor is cold, the carpet is soft. But right now, something tragic is happening inside your calves. Medical science calls it peripheral neuropathy, but the mechanism is actually demyelination. Think of it like that old frayed charging cable where the white rubber has cracked and peeled away, exposing the raw metal underneath. When the insulation is gone, the electricity leaks out. The signal sparks, sputters, and short circuits before it ever reaches its destination. That dead feeling in your foot isn't just your limb falling asleep, it is the silence of a severed connection. Your brain is calling out to your toes, but because the insulation is stripped, the line is dead. You aren't losing circulation, you're losing transmission. But this begs the terrifying question. Your body is designed to repair this insulation constantly, so what is stopping it? What specific fuel is missing from your blood, causing the manufacturing of this rubber to completely shut down?
Most people dismiss vitamin B12 as a generic energy booster, something you grab at a gas station counter to stay awake. But biologically, this is an insult to its true power. Inside your nervous system, B12 is not just fuel, It is the architect. It is the specific molecular glue your body requires to knit that protective myelin insulation together. Think of your nerve repair system like a busy construction site on a highway. You have the workers, your enzymes, standing by, ready to pave the road. They are clocked in, holding their trowels, waiting to work. But the supply trucks carrying the cement simply never arrive. The workers are helpless. Without the raw material, the B12, the project halts. If you looked at your nerves under a microscope right now, they wouldn't look smooth, white, and sealed. They would look moth-eaten. They appear ragged and pitted, full of microscopic holes where the electrical current leaks out into your tissue, causing those stinging ants you feel at night. But why does this torture start in your toes? Because your body is smart, but it is ruthless. When B12 supplies run low, your brain enters survival mode. It hoards the remaining nutrient for the command centers, your brain and your heart. It cuts the power lines to the furthest outposts first, to save the core. Since your feet are the furthest geography from your central nervous system, they are the first to be sacrificed. This is a phenomenon called dying back. Your nerves are literally retreating from the tips inward. But here's the confusing part. You might be eating red meat. You might be taking a multivitamin. You are putting the fuel in the tank, yet the engine is sputtering. Why? Because swallowing a nutrient is not the same as absorbing it, and your body has likely locked the door. I can almost hear you shouting at the screen right now, but Dr. Sterling, I checked. My doctor ran the labs, and my B12 levels are perfectly normal. This is the single most dangerous sentence in modern geriatrics. I need you to understand that your doctor is not lying to you, but they are navigating with a dangerously outdated map. They are falling victim to the reference range trap. Here is the scandal hidden in the fine print. In the United States, if your B12 test comes back at 201 picograms per milliliter, the computer flags you as normal because the cutoff is 200. You get a green check mark and are sent home. But if you flew to Tokyo and took that exact same blood test, their doctors would panic. In Japan and functional health circles, the lower limit for neurological health is often 500. If you are sitting at 250, you are considered healthy in America, but severely deficient in Japan. Why the difference? Because U.S. lab ranges are calculated based on a bell curve of the people coming into the lab, people who are already sick, tired, and poorly fed. Being normal on a U.S. lab test simply means you're average among a sick population. It's like saying you're the tallest person in a room of people sitting down. We call this subclinical deficiency. It means you have enough B12 to keep your red blood cells from collapsing, so you aren't anemic, but you are effectively bankrupt when it comes to nerve repair. Your blood is surviving, but your nerves are starving. But let's assume you buy a bottle of B12 today to fix this number. Tragically, it probably won't work, because there's a common healthy habit you do every morning that is chemically locking your stomach and turning that vitamin into nothing but expensive urine.
We need to have a serious conversation about the bottle on your nightstand. Maybe it is a daily prescription pill for heartburn, or perhaps just a roll of chalky antacids you pop after a heavy dinner. You view these as tummy helpers, a responsible way to manage discomfort. But biologically, you are swallowing a chemical blockade that is slowly starving your nerves to death. Here is the cruel irony. You might be eating a pristine diet. You could be enjoying a grass-fed steak or a plate of eggs, both rich in B12. But eating B12 and absorbing it are two completely different physiological events.
B12 is stubborn. In nature, it comes bound tightly to the protein in your food. To rip it free, your stomach requires a violent, highly acidic environment. Think of B12 like gold locked inside a safe deposit box. Your stomach acid is the only key that fits the lock. Once the acid opens the box, a special escort protein called intrinsic factor grabs the B12 and walks it safely into your bloodstream. But when you take an acid blocker or a PPI, you are throwing away the key. You neutralize the acid to stop the heartburn, yes, but you also destroy the extraction mechanism. You eat the steak, but the B12 remains locked in the vault, passing uselessly through your digestion and into the toilet. You are physically incapable of extracting the nutrient. You are starving in the midst of plenty. So the numbness in your toes isn't because you aren't eating enough vitamins. It's because you have chemically turned off your body's ability to accept them. But if your nerves are starving in your feet, I have some devastating news about what is happening upstairs. Because the same deficiency destroying your balance is silently shrinking the physical matter of your brain. If the only consequence of this deficiency was tripping on a rug, that would be frightening enough. But I know what actually keeps you awake at 3 a.m. It isn't the fear of a cane or a walker. It is the terror of losing yourself. Here's the brutal physiological reality. Your nervous system is one continuous circuit. Your brain is not separate from your feet. It is simply the largest, most complex bundle of myelinated nerves you possess. If the insulation is being stripped off the wires in your toes, you can be virtually certain it is being stripped off the wires in your hippocampus, the memory center of your brain. When B12 levels flatline, your brain does not just slow down, it physically begins to wither. We call this cerebral atrophy. The tissue literally shrinks in volume, pulling away from the skull. This mimics every symptom of Alzheimer's. We call it pseudo-dementia. It starts with walking into a room and forgetting why. It progresses to struggling to find the right word during Sunday dinner. It ends with the heartbreaking moment you look at a grandchild and struggle to recall their name. Your tingling toes are simply the canary in the coal mine. They are the first sacrificial warning that the mine is running out of air. If you ignore the static in your feet today, the silence will inevitably spread to your memories tomorrow. You must intervene now, but this is where most people make a critical mistake. If you drive to the drugstore and buy the standard senior multivitamin, you are likely swallowing a synthetic form of B12 bound to a molecule of cyanide. Yes, cyanide. To save your brain, we need to find the specific hero ingredient that bypasses this toxic trap.
I want you to do something for me right now. Pause this video, walk to your kitchen, open your cabinet, and grab that bottle of B12 or that senior multivitamin you bought on sale. Turn it over and look at the ingredient list. I am willing to bet that under vitamin B12 you see a long, complicated word, Cyanocobalamin. If you see that word, I have some unsettling news. You are essentially paying to stress your liver. Cyano stands for cyanide. Yes, the poison. Manufacturers use this synthetic form because it is incredibly cheap and stable on a shelf for years. But inside your body, it is a metabolic burden. Before your nerves can use even a drop of this vitamin, your liver must chemically strip away that cyanide molecule and detoxify it.
For a healthy 20-year-old, this is a minor chore, but for a senior with a tired liver and a compromised gut, it is an impossible hurdle. You are taking a supplement to heal, but you are giving your body a chore. You need to throw that bottle away. The hero your nerves are screaming for is called methylcobalamin. This is the bioidentical form. It is pre-activated. It is exactly what exists in nature. When you take methylcobalamin, your liver breathes a sigh of relief. It doesn't need to be converted or detoxified. It crosses the blood-brain barrier instantly and gets straight to work, patching the holes in your myelin insulation like a master carpenter. But owning the right bottle is only half the battle. Because of the stomach acid issues we discussed earlier, if you simply swallow this new, high-quality pill with a glass of water, you might still absorb absolutely nothing. To bypass the blockade in your stomach, you must change how the vitamin enters your body. Here is the most critical rule of this entire protocol. Do not swallow the pill. If you pick up that high-quality methylcobalamin and simply wash it down with a glass of water, you have missed the point completely. Remember, we established that your stomach is currently a hostile environment. Without strong acid and that intrinsic factor protein, swallowing a capsule is like sending a rescue team into a tunnel that has already collapsed. The nutrient will simply sit in your gut, waiting for a door that never opens. We need a back door. We need to bypass the security checkpoint entirely. The solution is to use a sublingual lozenge or liquid drops. I want you to lift your tongue. That soft pink tissue underneath is rich with tiny, tiny capillaries sitting right near the surface. When you place the vitamin there and let it dissolve, it absorbs directly into your bloodstream within seconds. It acts like a fast pass at a crowded airport, skipping the long security line of your digestion and walking straight onto the plane. It is effectively a medical IV without the pain of a needle. Aim for a daily dose between 1,000 and 5,000 micrograms. Do not worry about overdosing. B12 is water-soluble, so your body will simply flush out what it doesn't need. But do not let B12 work alone. Nerves are complex structures. To rebuild them, B12 needs a support crew, specifically vitamin B6 and folate. A good, high-quality B-complex lozenge covers all these bases. This sublingual hack stops the immediate crisis. It gets fuel to the dying nerves today. But we cannot rely on supplements forever. To truly reclaim your independence, we need to fix the root cause. We need to turn your digestion back on so you can absorb nutrients from your steak and eggs again. And surprisingly, the tool to do that is likely sitting in your kitchen pantry right now.
The sublingual drops we just discussed are the fire department. They put out the immediate blaze in your nerves, but you don't want to live with a fire truck parked in your driveway forever. You want to rebuild the house. You want to be able to eat a piece of steak or a scrambled egg and actually absorb the life-giving nutrients inside it, just like you did when you were 30. To do that, we have to unlearn a lifelong lie. You have been told that stomach acid is a villain to be suppressed. In reality, for a senior, stomach acid is liquid gold. It is the fuel that powers your digestion. When your stomach acid is weak, that healthy protein you eat just sits there, a heavy, rotting brick in your gut, causing bloating, gas, and indigestion. But more importantly, without that acid bath, the door to B12 absorption stays locked. Your body remains starved even while you are full. So, if you are currently not on prescription ulcer medication, we need to gently reignite that furnace. The tool is likely already in your pantry: apple cider vinegar. Here's the protocol.
Before your largest meal of the day, take 1 tablespoon of raw organic apple cider vinegar and mix it into a tall glass of water. Drink it down through a straw to protect your teeth. That sour jolt is the start button for your digestion. It lowers the pH of your stomach just enough to chemically strip the B12 from your food and usher it into your blood. If you can't stand the taste, a betaine HCl capsule works exactly the same way. Suddenly, you aren't just eating, you are nourishing. You are fixing the machinery so you don't have to rely on lozenges forever. But I need to be honest about the timeline. Nerves are not skin. They do not heal overnight. So, exactly how long will it take before you can feel the carpet under your feet again? Healing your nervous system is a marathon, not a sprint. I need you to be patient with your own body. Biologically, peripheral nerves regenerate at a speed of about 1 millimeter per day. That is incredibly slow work. You spent years starving these wires. You must give them a few months to feast and rebuild. But one morning you will wake up, swing your legs out of bed, and realize the silence is gone. The cotton feeling will have thinned out. For the first time in years, the floor won't feel like a sponge. It will feel cold, hard, and solid. You will wiggle your toes and feel the sharp, distinct texture of the carpet. That sensation is not just comfort, it is freedom. It means you can walk down the stairs without clutching the railing until your knuckles turn white. It means you can chase your grandchild across the lawn without the terrified voice in the back of your head whispering that you are about to fall. You are reclaiming your gravity. You are taking back your territory. This is the difference between managing your decline and actively reversing it. So, here's your homework. I want you to go to your cabinet right now. Check that label. If you see Cyanocobalamin, throw it in the trash. Switch to the methylated form, try the sublingual drops, and start the apple cider vinegar protocol. And then I want you to join us. Click that subscribe button, not just to watch another video, but to join a community of people who refuse to accept old age as a diagnosis. Give this protocol 60 days, and then come back to the comments and tell me, how does the grass feel under your feet? I'm Dr. Arthur Sterling. I'll see you in the next video.